Hey YouTube, what's up? Hope you all are doing well. This is Mohammad Badruddin and today we are going to solve lab number 4 from OS Command Injection Vulnerability. So we already solved 3 labs before. The first lab was simple case where we just identify the vulnerability and just exploited that. The second lab we actually solved, that is blind OS Command Injection Vulnerability. Fine, where we tested the vulnerability by adding the time delays by pinging the server localhost IP 10 times. So once it's start pinging 10 times, it will take obviously time. So we added the time delay in response. And the third lab, we also solved the blind OS command injection vulnerability with the output redirection, because it is blind and we cannot see the response in the browser. So what we did is we execute a command, and simultaneously executing that command we save the output of that command somewhere in the web root directory, and then we render the output file through the web page. Right now, in today's lab, in lab number 4, we are going to adopt another approach for testing and exploiting the blind OS command injection vulnerability, that is out of band interaction. So in out of band interaction, what we will do, suppose there is a condition where you can execute the command, you can also save your command output in a file, but even after executing the command and saving the output somewhere in the root directory, but you won't be able to render that file on the browser. Sometimes applications, they save the files in the root directory, okay, like images and other files. They save files not from the actual name, they save files from some encoded form, and they added the epoch time or real time in milliseconds and with the date and other things. So at that instant, and they also make an entry in their database that okay, this file is saved from this name, and that name is a bit difficult to guess, and you cannot guess it. The application will only render those files for what they have entry in their database. So at that instant, even if you save your output in a file, you won't be able to render that output on your web browser through the application. So at that instant, you know that your command is executing because you try time delay approach, right? So at that instant, we can go for the out of band interaction, where we have our registered domain, or attacker have his own registered domain, and he can ping, or he can make HTTP request, or he can make DNS request to his own registered domain, and in his side he will actually capture the response or traffic coming to its public IP. So at that instant, once he gets the hits from your public IP, that means vulnerability exists and exploited successfully. Fine. So I already opened up this lab. This lab is very much similar to the previous 2 labs, but here we are going to see out of band interaction, right? So as we all know, this is submit feedback, and this submit feedback, this especially this email parameter is vulnerable to OS command injection, blind OS command injection. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the burp proxy on my browser. I already open up the burp proxy here. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to start the burp collaborator client, and then I'm going to copy that burp collaborator client here and just minimize this window. Intercept must be on, and just let's submit a feedback. So name is Badr, email is test@west.local, and let's say subject is message 1, and message is, this is a test message, right? And hit the send feedback button. So here we have email. So what I'm going to do is just making here 4 pipes, and between these 4 pipes I'm going to put a command which is nslookup, right? nslookup plus, instead of space I'm using plus, and I'm going to paste my Burp Collaborator client domain. Fine. So what it will do, it is going to execute the command after this email ID. So it will do nslookup. So how this nslookup works, I just let you know. So if I say here nslookup google.com, so it is going to resolve the IP address of this google.com. There is google.com IP, this is IPv4 and this is IPv6. So similarly, once we once this command is executed on the server, it is going to send our DNS query for this domain. So just forward this request, and once you forward this request, come back here. As you can see, congratulations, you solved the lab. Thank you for submitting the feedback. But actual thing is here. So this is our Burp Collaborator client, because we make a DNS request to our registered domain. So if I make here poll now, we should have the DNS request. So this is the DNS request. The collaborator server received a DNS lookup of type A for the domain name. Type A means resolving IP address from the name. There are other records like PTR record, CNAME record, and MX record, NS record, SOA record. Many records are there. You can go and read about those. But this is for whenever you are going to query to resolve IP address from the name, it is going to be a record. Fine. Or it is also known as host record. So that's it for this video. If you like the content, please like, subscribe and share. See you in the next video. Bye.